What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Soft Dump in the Corner, presented to you by North 6 Sports. Episode number 35 today. Again, we are rocking and rolling now as we get into the NHL season. We're about a quarter of the way in, and we want to give you a little recap. Touch base, let our thoughts and opinions kind of take the way here and see how we do. But let's introduce my fellow co-host on the show, Mr. Luke Pendlebury. How are we doing today?
What is going on, everybody? I'm excited to be back. I know there was a bit of a pause, but promise you there's going to be more coming on a more of a consistent basis. But I am excited to talk hockey because there is a lot of surprises, I think, this year. And try not to look at our predictions from our last pod because, some of them are a little off. But, hey, lots of hockey to play. So let's get going.
Yeah, that's it. And like you said there, so what's on the tab for today? We're going to do a little bit of review quarter of the way in. We got a firing in the Bruins team there with that. We're going to talk about that. McDavid's reached the 1,000-point plateau. Ridiculous. We're going to recap a little bit of the awards that we talked about last year and this year, see where we're at. And then we're going to play a little fun game of higher and lower. We'll talk some point totals, career totals. It's going to be something that you guys want to stick around for. So please wait till the end or fast forward to the end and listen to this game, because I think it's going to be a little bit of a fun one here. And see and guess along and comment along if you're watching. See if you guys get it right as well as we proceed here. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
We're
just about at the quarter mark here. Some teams have hit that 20-game mark. Generally speaking, the NHL is a U.S. Thanksgiving type of how we doing rating, if you will, on a team scale perspective. So yeah, how we doing? A couple of big notes that I wrote down here. Winnipeg and Washington just absolutely soaring right now. And the Penguins and the Predators are plummeting. What's your take on just kind of quarter season review, whether it be talk about any of those four teams, any team that you want to discuss on? Just give me a quick little couple key points of your early thoughts of the season here.
Yeah, it's been wild, honestly. I think you touched on Washington when you were mentioning some teams that have, I think, surprised a lot of people. And Ovi's looking like a different human being from last year. He's kind of looking like himself. I don't know if he's on the old Russian gas. I got no idea what this guy's pumping or cooking in his house, but my God, like he's been scoring at an amazing rate, and he may even break the goddamn record this year. So, unfortunately, he took a knee injury, so it's going to set him back probably a few weeks, but hopefully he gets going again because I like seeing vintage Ovi out there just ripping Genos from his office. So I got to give praise to Washington. I think bringing in Chikrin, bringing in some goaltending. Logan Thompson's played phenomenal. Being able to just kind of round out the team from last year has given them opportunities to win hockey games. And I'm more than surprised to see them near the top. Like we said, it's early, but another team that we haven't mentioned yet that I got to give a lot of praise to is the Minnesota Wild. They're 12-3-3 to start the year, and I think, they're a great team, but I don't think anyone's kind of put them near the top or have a start like this. So Kirill Kaprizov's having an MVP season. I believe he's near the top at about 33 points. And even Matt Boldy's having a good year at point per game.
I called it. If you go back and listen, and I'm going to actually, you know what? Everybody listening right now, let's hear the clip of me calling out Minnesota on our last episode. So yeah, that's exactly what I said. I know I did. I just felt like it. I just had that little tickle, I feel like they're going to be one of those teams that's stepping forward.
Jordan McKenzie reporting to duty.
Sorry to interrupt. Please.
No, you're good.
Proceed.
Matt Boldy, point per game player. He's playing well and having even Jared Spurgeon back in the lineup. I know he's dealt with a lot of injuries in the past. He's your captain. He's a well-rounded defenseman who sees both sides of the ice very well. It's just, they're a hockey town. I don't think a lot of people, I think it's a very underrated hockey town in Minnesota. So good to see them being near the top. Winnipeg again, they are in a phenomenal start. Everyone's putting in their efforts, and they're all believing in what the team wants to do. And Kyle Connor, another underrated season. The guy gets no credit every year. The guy puts up 30, 40 goals every year, and no one talks about him as like could be a top 15 player in this league. Could be more. And then Connor Hellebuck.
You think? Hold on. You think Kyle Connor's a top 15 player in the league?
I think he is. I honestly think he is, and I don't think anyone gives him enough credit just because he's playing in Winnipeg, and no one seems to care. And I don't want to upset Winnipeg fans, but their buildings don't fill, and I don't know. Like usually, a Canadian team can fill a stadium, so it's very weird to see Winnipeg not fill it. But Kyle Connor, I, I think he was drafted in our I don't know first or second round in fantasy. Like he's a guy that could put up offensive points, but he's a guy who can defend on the back end too. So yeah, buddy, I'd put him as a top 15 player. Absolutely. I think anyone would be lucky to have him on their roster and a guy you can rely on to find the offensive numbers. So yeah, those are some teams I think that stepped it up this year that I think may have kind of turned some heads in the league. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with Washington, I really like that, adding a few key guys last year. I know they got on the back end there, they got Chikrin. They obviously traded for a couple goaltending additions as well. Bringing in Logan Thompson's a big addition to kind of solidify that tandem. And then of course up front, our you and I's favorite buddy, PLD, Pierre-Luc Dubois,
Oh,
coming in
forgot
there,
about
just
him.
taking up valuable minutes, just not doing much, but just being out there, and whatnot. But yeah, I do like Minnesota. As I pointed out, I do really like what they're doing there. I'm a bit shocked. Just looking on from the other side of the perspective here, the Penguins and the Predators. I'm a little bit shocked with the Penguins, truthfully. I thought they had a pretty hot start, especially Malcolm. He's slowed down. The defense just looks in shambles. The goaltending is in shambles. I don't think either goalie or many of their players, just as a whole, to be quite honest, are playing with much confidence. Truthfully, I think realistically, the confidence is a huge thing for the Penguins right now. It doesn't look like they kind of trust each other on the ice. Maybe I'm seeing that a little bit wrong, but they're just not doing well. And then the Nashville Predators. I mean, I don't know what's happening there. Saros is, off and on. I think their decor is playing solid. I don't think they're, too bad in terms of goals against. I'll have a quick look as I'm chatting here, but when you look, throughout the games, they're just not driving the play. They're not capitalizing on their chances. They're not forcing teams to play any different than they'd like to. They're chasing a lot of games. It's not a recipe for success. You could use the 10-game in mark to say, hey, you know what? It's early. It's early. When you get 20 games in now, they're 19 games at the time we're recording this. That's not early in the season anymore. I mean, they've got to make up just to get to the second wild card, almost 6 points right now. That doesn't sound like much, and it's not too much with you got 60 something games left. But I mean, you don't want to start chasing early, and you definitely don't want to be losing games within your division, because especially by the year's end, it turns into a 4-point swing by the time if you win in regulation against these teams. So Nashville, I'm really shocked with. I'm gonna admit I got another queued up video clip here, audio here of me again calling out that, saying that I think that the Nashville Predators are going to have a struggle and that I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So let's hear that clip, folks. And again,
You're such a
hey,
bastard.
again, it's very early to say that cliche, as I just said it is not. But I think the Predators are struggling. I do believe that Nashville is in trouble. I don't think necessarily everything is working as fluently as Trotz had hoped, as he threw everything together very quickly in the summer. So what's your take on kind of struggling teams? Edmonton's struggling as well. We won't even bother going into that right now, to be honest, but maybe just talk Predators or even Penguins, or unless there's somebody else, team-wise that it is, maybe not performing as much as well as you'd hoped. What about Connor Bedard? He's not performing that well. He hasn't necessarily taken a
Yeah.
huge step forward in terms of comparison's sake to what we had, or I mean fans and media had blown him up to be.
Yeah, I'll get to Bedard in a bit, but the one team I think stands out to me would be the Bruins, Boston Bruins.
For
They're
sure.
outside of a wild card spot right now. I believe they are eight,
And
9, and 3.
while you bring that up, why don't you just bring up the news today too, and
Yeah.
go off of that too for everyone?
Yeah, I announced that Jim Montgomery was fired from the Boston Bruins. My opinion, I think it's safe to say that I don't know if it's really the coaching's issue. Unfortunately, when teams struggle, that expectations are really high and are supposed to be near your top of your division. They always point coach first. Unfortunately, I think Jim Montgomery is an amazing coach. I don't know if he just lost the voice in the room, but you have to look at this roster. If you even take a look at this roster, the bottom six on the Boston Bruins, I may know two players on the bottom six, and you have David Pastrnak, Pavel Zacha, and Morgan Geekie is your first line right now. I don't know. Other than Pasta, I don't know if there's the other two are really. I wouldn't say they're first line players.
Yeah, so I mean, a couple
Yeah,
of good points. I mean, the first and foremost, did you lose the
struggling.
dressing room comment? Like that is something
Yeah,
that you gotta wonder. You got a lot of good veteran leadership in that room, though. I know your
I know.
Bergeron and Chara and Krejci culture is arguably fading, if not it already faded away.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of that is still maintained within the way that those guys like to play the game, that those guys like to believe what being a Bruin is. A lot
Hmm.
of that is still there. All
I
of
know.
that is still there. So you got to think, man. Like these guys are probably pissed off.
Yeah.
They single handedly cost Jim Montgomery his job. That
Yeah.
guy, for everyone wondering, he was in his coaching record with the Bruins, and I double checked this because I wasn't sure this was true.
Yeah. Saw
He
it a
was
couple sources.
120 wins, 41 losses, and 23 overtime or shootout losses.
That's
He was
ridiculous.
almost 3-1 wins as a coach of the Boston Bruins, and they let him go. That is just,
Yeah.
to me, a prime example of how much pressure is on the Bruins, how much expectation they have to still be a cup contender,
Yeah.
and just how much of a cutthroat business the NHL actually is,
I
right?
know.
So, yeah, they were 8, 9, and 3. They let him go. They are just, I believe,
Outside
they're
wild card.
currently just outside of the wild card. They are tied as a wild card 2 spot, but they have played the extra game. So not like they're out of the race by any means, but wow, big news. The question I was going to raise is who's next as a coach? Do you think? I mean, obviously now out of the blue, I mean, how many people, question here, how many people would have truly put Jim Montgomery as the first coach fired? Like that guy would have been probably what plus, you know, 7,000, 8,000 to be first coach fired. Like this isn't one of the ones that you'd be like, yeah, he's probably going to be fired. Like this is not. Like he only lasted a few seasons with them.
Yep.
Obviously, Bruce Cassidy was the guy he took over for. Bruce Cassidy went on to win a Stanley Cup with Vegas. So maybe there's a line. Maybe the next team that signs Jim Montgomery is going to, have a run at the cup. Maybe
Yeah.
Knoblauch gets fired here soon, and Jimmy Montgomery goes over and coaches the Oilers to a cup. Um,
I think the Bruins need to look upstairs. I don't think it's anything to do with
yeah,
the
it's
ice
tough.
level.
Like that's a
It's
tough
pretty bad.
GM call.
Yep.
You got to think their relationship was strong, and that's just
Hmm.
something that unfortunately had to happen. I think it's a wake up call to the players, and
Yep.
as I said, I think the players are going to take this to heart, knowing that they arguably caused their coach that they appreciated and liked and had worked very hard for over the course of the time he was there, as you can see, with almost a
Hmm.
3 wins to 1 loss ratio for quite a few seasons there. They're going to be pissed off, right? So all you betters out there, whenever the Bruins play next, I think that's tomorrow night. I would be taking Bruins money line
All
because,
day. All
yeah,
day.
an extra little squeezer on Bruins first period total to score at least a goal. That's my guess. But yeah, so moving on, who do you think could be next? I wrote down Andrew Brunette, the Predators, as an option. He
Yeah.
hasn't necessarily looked the greatest there as a young NHL coach. He was a tremendous player, had unreal vision, was nasty on the power play, could pass the puck around so mint, but just isn't working out well as a coach. Mike Sullivan as well, long time cup winner, long time
Mm-hmm.
coach in Pittsburgh. Is it time just to, you know, change in Pittsburgh, right? Like
Yeah.
Crosby and Malkin obviously said they wanted to be there with their contracts that they've signed, right? Crosby specifically this most recently. But yeah, dude, like there's a couple coaches on the hot seat already this early on. And you got to think, man, just because the parity of the league specifically is so tight now, like coaches getting fired when you're a point out or whatever, like that's crazy, man. That's
I
crazy.
know. They prematured that one for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike Sullivan's an interesting one though. He's been around. I think he's the second longest tenured coach behind John Cooper.
Sounds right.
Um,
Because he was
so
their coach for back to back. Am I right on that, Sullivan?
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
16,
Yep.
17s. And I think he came in, was it halfway through that year?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
he came in
It
on
was just
16
before.
or whatever, close to halfway
Yep.
through. They had a tougher start.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's time for rebuild with the Penguins, and it's unfortunate because I don't know if Sid
Well, you
Malkin, any of
can't
those
you
guys.
can't do that though because they
I
signed.
know.
Like they're there.
I
If
know.
you are not going up to Sidney Crosby
It's
and
time to
asking if
rebuild.
you're okay with a rebuild.
Well,
That's like
no, I know.
slapping like, you know,
I don't
that
know what you do. Do you move him? Does he go somewhere to win?
do
Do you
you
give him
ask
that
him though?
opportunity?
Like, do you even present him with the idea of being moved, right? Because that's where it all starts. Because you got to be able to go out there and say to him, "Hey, we're willing to shop you. Are you willing to waive your no move?" Right? Like that's I
Imagine
don't
that
know.
conversation. Oh,
Like I
yeah,
don't know. To me, I think you have to consider it.
yeah.
But I don't know. As a Penguins fan, do you really want Kyle Dubas making this decision in charge of Crosby's future and being the one that traded Crosby? Do you
Oh
really
yeah.
want Kyle
You
Dubas
be
on that?
you'll be booed right back to the barn. Like,
And
see
I'm
you
not trying
later.
to discredit Dubas. Maybe he would get a good haul for it. We don't know. This is obviously all hypothetical here, but do you
Yeah,
really want a guy that hasn't had necessarily the strongest trade history to be making such a huge franchise decision? And to even go on top of that, would the ownership even allow it? Would ownership even allow Crosby to get traded?
yeah. I
Not
don't know.
likely, right? Guy
Hey, bud.
draws in so much money, it's insane, right? Or not
Yeah,
even look at the money. That guy puts seats in, butts in the seat. He's a number one guy around the league, right? Anyways, that's a whole different conversation that we can go after. But let's chat numbers here. Big news
sorry,
last week, right?
Archie digging at the carpet.
Kick that little bastard in the butt and get him out of here. Unless he's got something to say, then little Archie, can go walk his little legs out in the other room there.
Arch.
All right. So,
Anyways, continue.
jumping in there. So I wanted to talk McDavid. Again, we boast about him boast about him all the time, but just another reason to talk about him. Connor McDavid becomes the 99th player. How ironic. What's up, Wayner? 99th player in NHL history to reach the
Yeah,
1,000-point plateau. The huge accomplishment. 659 games. I think it
yeah.
was I should have double checked on this one, but I think he was the fourth fastest to do that, which is pretty neat.
That is cool. Really
Yeah.
cool.
So, and obviously, normally you would think, oh, McDavid 1,000-point comes on assist, actually comes on a one-timer slap shot, if you will, or
Yeah, that's sick.
quick one-timer from Draisaitl
Yep.
to score the goal there. So 99th player in history. I had a little bit of a look see there because I go, hey, you know what? Who's next? Like, who's going to be coming up, right? And some
Yeah.
of the names you're looking at, some of these veterans, you're like, wow, you're so close. Specifically, Jason Spezza, I was looking at. I was thinking,
Yeah.
Leaf fans, if you kept him around one more year, I think he was 28 or 29 points, something like that, shy of 1,000. But looking down the list, guys that I kind of threw out here saying, hey, you're probably going to be next.
Yep.
Nate McKinnon, is at sorry, I give the respect to Brad Marchand is at 942. So
Yep.
potential 58 points for the rest of the season for him to to get that 1,000-point marker. Nate McKinnon, I really think this is going to happen this year. He's currently now at 933. And then Kucherov, sneaky at 899. So 1 point
Yeah.
away from the 900 club, which is already a huge accomplishment. Kudos to him. Two-time cup winner, right? Two-time? Yeah.
He has got 2
Yeah,
cups.
two-time
Yep.
cup winner, right?
Yes, sir.
99 more points away from 1,000. He's on pace right now to actually finish the season in the final 62 games or 20 games through. I did the math. He's on pace for 99 more points, which would put him one shy of 1,000 heading into next season.
That's
So you got to
crazy.
think if he gets pretty close come, February, March, he's going to try and do what he did last year and just fill the net, empty netters,
Oh, yeah.
everything, be on the ice,
Anything.
throw everything out there,
Yeah.
and good for him. So 101 points away from 1,000. I really do think he'll hit that this year. I do think that. And then Leon Draisaitl is at 877. More than likely not putting up another 123 points this season.
No.
More than likely gets to 1,000
No
next year.
chance.
So
Yeah.
within the matter of back-to-back seasons, the Oilers might have two young studs, 28 and 27, I think, years old, that have already
That's
hit the
awesome.
1,000-point club in the NHL, which is
Fucking
pretty cool.
insane.
It's
That is
something that
awesome.
you got to kind of sit back and just kind of say,
Like,
holy, like,
yeah, like
that's very
tip of the
impressive.
cap.
And that's understanding. I mean, that's incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add in on the 1,000? Like I said, we don't need to dive in. Just wanted to kind of give a quick, woo-hoo-hoo, how you doing?
Ooh,
Coo,
words are tough.
coo, coo, coo. Just to credit where it's due to McDavid
Yeah.
reaching 1,000 points again for, I believe, fourth fastest in 659 NHL games.
No, it's incredible, and obviously, being from the same hometown and
Richmond Hill.
Newmarket. Just seeing him grow up, and I went to school with his older brother Cam, and there's just been a lot of speculation, knowing Connor was going to be a very good hockey player, and about 4 or 5 years before his NHL draft, they had people scouting him as the number 1 pick in the draft, and it's incredible to know that far away, and it just shows you how skilled he was going to be.
And how good the scouts are.
Oh yeah,
Well, I
scouts
mean,
are.
maybe when you see a kid like that, you're like, okay, he's
Yeah.
well
Well,
above,
actually,
but
he's actually really
just
goddamn good.
to be able to do that.
But just the way he's kind of taken in the pressure, knowing that far in advance, and how much pressure is going to be on his shoulders going into Erie, and as an exceptional status as a 15-year-old, putting up way more than a point per game in every year he played in the O, and now taking strides and being the best player on the planet in the NHL. It's a cool feel. It's cool to see, and it's a huge congratulations on being the 4th fastest. So
Love it.
big kudos to him. So that's awesome.
Yep. Kudos, Connor. All right, moving on. So we've done for the last few seasons in particular. We always do our award predictions, kind of guess, play a little fun game. I decided I think one of these times we should probably go back and actually see how we did. So
I don't want to.
why don't we look at just
No.
going back one season in particular? I went back and listened to last year's award predictions we did very early into the season, 1 or 2 games in. So I'm going to read them off just very quickly. I'll read
Yep.
off last year's, yours last year and mine last year here. You
Yep.
had for the Hart, you had Jack Hughes. For the Art Ross, McDavid. You had the Rocket, Mr. 69 Matthews, which you were correct on. Norris, you took Cale Makar and Jake Ottinger for the goaltender, for the Vezina, excuse me, and the Calder Bedard, which you also got correct. You had 2 correct. Pretty solid. Give you some kudos on that. A little bit of a cheer. Last year, I predicted Nate McKinnon to win the Hart, which I was correct.
Yep.
Art Ross, I had McDavid, so I lost on that as well. Rocket, I took Draisaitl, had a bit of an off year. Norris, Makar as well, which I was both wrong. Vezina, I took Gorgiev. Not a good look. He had a tough year. Very, very tough look for the brand. And Calder, I took Bedard as well. So I too had 2. So we both did pretty well. So looking ahead to this year again, quick recap. You took McDavid for Hart. I also took McDavid for Hart. Art Ross, you and I each took McDavid. So we're 2 for 2 McDavid on that one. Here's where we differ, though. This year, the Rocket, you took Matthews. This year, I took Pasternak. I think we're sludging a little bit on that one. Pasternak's had
Off.
a weird start to the season.
Oh,
Something's up there,
not even a
obviously.
point per game.
Maybe with the new coaching, this might turn around a little bit for him, but
Yeah.
he is not necessarily looking as strong as I had thought. Norris, you took Makar again,
Mm-hmm.
who's having a phenomenal start.
Yeah,
Holy
he could win
man.
an MVP.
He might even finish top 5 in scoring.
That's crazy.
I took Miro Heiskanen, who's having a solid year. Just points necessarily aren't there. He's
Mhm.
slowly starting to produce more points, which is great. But a little bit of a slower start there. Starting to pull it together. Vesna, you went UC Soros. I don't think that one's
Blech.
going to hit. Tough
Blech.
in Nashville there. They're the poopy Predators right now. Vesna, I took Jake Ottinger. I really like that one. I do think he's still going to win this because I know he's like top 2 or 3, I think, right now for sure.
Yep.
Calder, you went Lane Hudson. That kid's so sick, man. He's so
Oh,
agile on his skate.
oh,
He literally
oh.
reminds me of just like a little water bug version of Quinn Hughes. He's a very
Yep.
similar player. They are
Yep.
very, very alike, which is kind of neat. Incredible skater.
Oh,
Calder, I
yeah.
went Logan Stankoven, man. And this kid looks
Kid.
nasty. And he is really, really coming into his own and very fast for Dallas, which is so scary.
Did you see that little
The
flip
little
over
flip.
the Oh!
So for everyone that didn't see it,
Ah!
basically what he did, he came over the blue line on the left side. He's a right-handed player. Just inside the blue line, his boards are on his left. The blue line, and then just between the blue and the top of the circle, the D-man kind of closed. The puck was rolling forward, kind of somewhat toward the net. He basically turned his blade over, grabbed the puck and kind of flipped it in the air over to the right side, over top of the D-man, and jumped over and basically got the puck on his stick on this forehand side in the middle of the ice and got close to the net and had a good chance at a shot.
Mhm.
Just a ridiculously high skilled play. Very, very neat to see a player starting to gain such confidence at that early, that young of an age. Dude,
Yeah.
Stan Coben's a gamer, dude. Yeah, my pick
Gross.
there. So we'll see how that holds off. If
Yeah.
anybody likes, dislikes, has any comments on that, wants us to say we're smart or stupid, we're more than likely gonna agree with you either way. And we'll go from there. But we'll see. Anybody looking to
Yes,
play
sir.
some bets? As you can see, we hit 2 out of what, 7?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 for 6, so 1 for 3. We're 33%. That ain't bad. That's not bad.
Not
So
bad.
you're gonna hit 1 every 3 bets if you listen to us. All right, moving on here. So I also went back and did a little recap of some of the things we had talked about. And I was curious because I was like, you know what? We had a pretty cool discussion on how many 100-point players. We specifically talked about the production, specifically offensive production, being higher in the past few seasons. There are more penalties, which draws more power plays. Power plays more likely to increase in goals. We get the math there and how that one works out. Thanks, Jordo. But like I said, production being up, there's more likely more scoring, more 100-point players. So last year, I asked the question there: how many 100-point players do you think there will be at season's end? You guessed 10. I guessed 7.
Mhm.
Answer, please. Drum roll, please. 9 players total
Ooh, that was close.
hit the 100-point plateau. Without looking, because I know I sent you the notes, can you name all 9 players?
Yeah, probably. McDavid,
Yeah.
Kucherov,
2,
McKinnon,
3,
Matthews,
4.
um, oh, maybe not. I'm drawing blanks here. I'm missing some big ones here. Sid wasn't. No, Sid didn't get it right.
No.
No, Sid. Um,
Think
Trying to go
goals.
Pasternak.
Pasternak's 5. Think goals. You're
No.
missing a pretty big one here. Lots and lots
Uh,
of goals. You
Did
didn't
I
say
say?
Matthews yet, did you?
Oh, I thought I said Matthews.
I thought you said
No. Oh,
I
maybe
thought you
not.
said McKinnon and McDavid,
I thought I said Matthews. Okay.
right? So
Okay.
Matt,
I
so
was like,
right
I
now
said pasta and Matthews.
we're Kucherov, McKinnon,
Yeah.
McDavid,
Yep.
Matthews, and Pasternak.
Yep.
Kucherov, McKinnon, McDavid, Pasternak, and Matthews. You have 4 left,
JT Miller.
correct?
Um.
3 left.
Fuck. God damn it! I'm usually
They're
good at
both in the
these.
Western Conference.
They're both. I have 2 left.
And just to speed this up, you've given teammates of both of these players.
Given
Just give
teammate.
Western Conference and teammates. I think that's as big of a giveaway as I really
Is
need right now.
Mikko Rantanen?
Mikko Rantanen. And the last one. Don't disrespect my boy like that.
Drats.
Yeah, not bad. Nicely done.
Jeez.
That's
Yeah.
hard to put on the spot like that.
Yep.
So quick recap again. 9 players in the NHL last year eclipsed the
Yeah.
100-point total. There were a couple that were like 98. I think Willie was 98. There was a few in the high 90s. Kucherov, McKinnon, McDavid, Panarin. We didn't name.
Oh, so I missed
Panarin,
one.
Pasternak,
Shit.
Matthews, Draisaitl, Rantanen, and JT Miller. The only 9 players to score over 100 points. So let's just do it. How many do you think are going to eclipse the 100-point total this season? I'm not even looking at the stats because I kind of forget. There's probably about 5 or 6, I think, that are on pace for probably 115, 120 already. So why don't we just take a gamble and go? I'll go first. I think this year we're going to go higher. Maybe we'll do this. We'll do over under 9.5.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
do you think it'll be 9 or less, or do you think it will be 10 or more? So we'll set the bar at over or under 9.5. Drop your comments or let us know. Give us a message, whatever. What do you think? Do you think it'll be over 9.5 or under 9.5? What's your take?
I got under. I got 9. I think it's gonna be right at the same. I think the production's the same. Looking at the standings, looks very similar to last season. I just, yeah, I got it right at the same amount. I think it's gonna be a lot of the same players. You might get a couple that surprises, for players who've never reached that mark before. But then I think you're gonna have some players that may drop below the line that you may expected, like maybe Pasta. Looking like a player that we could mention is JT Miller taking a leave of absence at this time, and obviously, hopefully, he gets what he needs in terms of his health. And he's another player who knows when he's going to come back. So, like right there, you have a couple players who might fall under the 100, but you also might get a couple guys who are going to now reach that 100-point plateau. So, I'll stick
That's my
under, but
question.
it's right at 9.
Who gets in? So I'm going to go over. Why don't I just carry this out? I'm going to go over, and I'm going to say I agree with you. So Pasternak may turn this. I mean, he had over 120 or something last year, right? So if he's got a 20-point buffer right now through the first 20 games, I'm pretty sure that guy can score 80 points in 60 games. He's done it before. So I still believe that could turn around. Will he? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he only reaches a point per game. Maybe he has one of his career lows, right? Well, career lows meaning, from my perspective, kind of like in his prime. But Pasternak turned it around. Panarin, I think, stays in. Your top 3 are staying in: Kucherov, McKinnon, and McDavid.
Agreed.
Matthews, I think, missing, let's say he misses 8 games, maybe he misses 10 total. I still think that he could possibly do it. I'm going to start to think if he's starting to miss 7-8 games that he's not going to do it. Draisaitl, I think, will. He's slowly started to pick it up. Rantanen, I think, will. He's already on a tear. JT Miller, I don't know what's up with them. Hopefully everything's okay.
All the best,
I think he drops out, though. I think last year was probably close to a career year. He is an incredible point producer, but I don't think that they're having as strong a year as they did last year in Vancouver, and I think that kind of might medium out a little bit. A guy that one of the guys that stands out to me right away that maybe isn't necessarily, and I should double check, but Jack Hughes is a guy that I thought was going to really take a step forward and really jump his name into the top scoring. He's got 22 points in 21 games, so close to a 90-ish point average right now. If
Yeah.
he can step that up like he did last year.
Yep.
But like guys like Sam Reinhart, he's already got 29 points in 19 games again. Everybody, well, hands up, accountability here. I didn't think he was going to continue this rampant pace. I mean,
No
okay,
chance.
point per game, maybe another 40 and 40 type of season. I think that would be very respectable and still worth 7 mil. I think he got paid per year, something like that. Am I wrong on that? I can't remember.
He got 8 point
Okay, yeah, so a little higher than
something.
that, sure, but still well worth it if you're a 40 goal
Oh,
scorer,
yeah.
right? So he's up there, but Jack Eichel too, 28 points in 18 games. He's probably going to hit the 100 point. Has he hit the 100 point? No, Jack Eichel's not. So he
No, I
might be
think
a
he may
first
have
timer.
touched 80 once, but he had injury issues with his neck,
Right? So he
remember?
might be a first-time 100-point guy. Will any of the Winnipeg guys, will Kyle Connor be a first-time 100-point? Will Mark Scheifele be a first-time 100-pointer? There's quite a
Yeah.
few guys. Will Tim Stützle
Look
be a
at
first-time 100-pointer
yeah.
in Ottawa? Right? There's a lot of guys that are kind of like, whoa, like, are you really gonna have your career year, or are you really gonna step it up? And Marty Nietzsche's 19 or 30 points in
I
17 games,
know.
third
That
in league
kid's
scoring,
popping
close
off.
to a quarter of the way through the season. Who saw that coming? There's a lot of
Um,
guys that are having really high number seasons here. I think that if this carries out, why not, right?
Kirill
We'll see.
Kaprizov.
We'll analyze toward the end of the season, like where we're at, and go from there. But I'm gonna say over. I actually think 11's the number I'm gonna stick with. You're gonna stick
Okay.
with 9, you said.
Yeah, I'll stick
So
at 9.
11 and 9, and we'll see where we finish there.
Kaprizov, man. He's another guy
Yeah, he hasn't
that would
done it
hit
yet too,
100.
because he was injured last year for a little bit, and that kind of
And
caused him out of a lot of production too, right? So
and what's stopping Makar? Makar could even hit
yeah,
100.
yeah, especially if Landeskog comes back, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple guys that are injured right now
Yeah.
wow, they play in Colorado, figure it out. So yeah, I mean that's a team that could be scary too if they're all healthy and clicking. Anything else on those ones? The 100-point convo?
No, it's just nice to see the goal production going up. I like it. I like those
Yeah.
high scoring games, and it's nice to see players, even new names too. Like another name that we didn't really mention either is Dylan Strome's having a hell of a year with
Yeah,
Washington.
I just
Yeah,
buzzing
he's
through. I'm like,
good.
man, like shit. I probably should have said him because he's
He
one that
looks like
stands out.
the
28
young version
points
of
in
Nick
18 games.
Backstrom.
Dude,
He's
he's
got
got
the
22
Backstrom.
assists in his first 18 games, dude. That's incredible.
He's got the Backstrom look, the young Backstrom, the same like point totals because it's always Backstrom always had like 12 goals and 60 apples.
Yeah, like the reverse Cy Young.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, I love it. All right, cool. So, speaking of points, let's play a little bit of game here, game time, because on Soft Up in the
yeah.
Corner, we like to have a little bit of fun here, like to try and come up with something new and try and keep up with what's trending out there too. Because well, I don't know why, just because it's fun. Anyways, let's go here. So, what we're gonna do is I will name player A versus player B. And what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to name season career high totals, but I'm going to just give the player names and you have to guess who had the higher total. Does that make sense? Did I explain that properly? Maybe I should try it again. I'm going to name 2 players and you have to tell me who you thought has a higher total for a season, okay? So
Okay.
one single career high season, player A versus B. So, number 1.
Yep.
Alexander Radulov
Hmm.
or David Krejci?
So who had more total points?
Who had the higher one-time season point total?
Oh,
And bonus points if you can get it correct.
wow.
All right, we're gonna play. You got 5 seconds between.
Okay, I'm gonna go Krejci because he played more seasons. Because I think there's a better chance.
Ding. Okay. All right. Good. Krejci, David Krejci had 73 points as a career high.
Yeah.
Alexander Radulov had 72.
Holy, that's as close
Krejci's
as it
career
gets.
high was 1 point higher than Radulov. Okay, number two. Who had a higher total point regular season? Jordan Eberle with the Oilers or Oshie with the Caps? Or Oshie career. I should have said career because I gave it away because I told you it was Eberle when he was with the Oilers. That was my giveaway by accident. But Jordan Eberle or TJ Oshie, who's your pick?
Who had more?
Who's got a higher regular
Season high.
season point total?
I'm gonna go TJ Oshie actually. Oh, it's Abs.
TJ Oshie's highest career total is 60 points.
That's it?
That's it. Look it up. Google it. I had to look it up 3 times. I couldn't believe it. I'm going to look it up again as we're live just because I still don't believe it. His career high points is 60 points.
What?
In the 2013-14 season with the St. Louis Blues. In 79 games, he had 21 goals, 39 assists, 60 points total.
Oh, wow. I had him at least 70.
How about this, though? You want to talk about playoff guy?
Playoffs?
In the cup-winning playoffs, in the cup-winning run in the 17-18 season when the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup, in 24 games played, he had 21 points. So,
good for him.
If I do the quick math here, that in an 82 game season would be 72 points.
All right.
Okay,
that's
so
where I thought he
respectable.
would be.
Now,
that's where I thought he would be.
Going back to the topic at hand, because this is supposed to be a pretty quick game and we're making it longer, but this is fun. We're having fun, Lois. Why did you hit it in the water, Peter? Because we're having fun. Jordan Eberle had 76 points with the Edmonton Oilers.
Damn, good for him.
So 76 versus TJ Oshie 60. 60 is baffling for me. I knew that one would throw you off because it threw me off. I guessed around 80, and I was way off. Number 3, Tyler Seguin or Nazem Kadri?
Kadri had a big year the other year. It came out of fucking nowhere. But I'll go
5, 4, 3.
I'll go Kadri because I think that 1 year actually popped off for him.
Bing, 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 bing. Nazem Kadri is definitely the correct answer here. In the 17-18 season, I think it was, when they won the cup. No, that's way not wrong. That's way not right.
2021.
Doesn't matter. Whenever the Colorado Avalanche won the cup, he had 87 points.
Yeah.
87 points in the regular season that year.
Sagan's close, though.
The Leafs were very happy that they got rid of him. They still are, I'm sure. 87 points. Tyler Seguin, take a guess.
85.
84.
Oh, wow. I was close.
Yeah.
Damn.
So,
I knew he was in the 80s.
All right. Now we really step this up. We get into round 2. We add a little bit of water. We add a little bit of heat to this water so it's bubbling and boiling. And we step this game up a little bit. Instead of season totals, we're going to transition this to career totals. So,
diggity dog.
How this works, just for those of you that are following along on the scrapbook here, all we're going to do is play the same game, but just simply do it for the career instead of the season. All right.
Super
in round number 1, we have Mr. 50-07, Danny Heatley.
Danny Heater.
Versus who I like to call Mr. Canada, Rick Nash. Who had more career? This is career now. Career total points. Danny Heatley or Rick Nash? Canadians.
I got Ricky
Nash. Ding, 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 ding. Rick Nash, 805 points in his career in 1,060 career games played. Danny Heatley, 791. So a mere 14 points, but in 869 games.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I mean, Ricky played quite a few more games, but the name of the game is who has more points in their career. Rick Nash is your winner over Danny Heatley, 805 to 791. Moving into round number 2. Mr. Minnesota. I love that name. I don't know why, but it just came to me. Mr. Marian Gaborik or Pavel Bure. This is a good one. This is a good one.
My brain is telling me at this point in time that it's Bure, but for the fact that you put Gabrick there, it can't be that obvious. I'm gonna go Marian Gabrick.
Ding, 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 ding. Marian Gaborik is correct. 815 points in 1,035 games. We have the exact same thing here with Pavel Bure. 779. So again, just under 30 points less. 779 points in 702 games.
Ooh.
If he would have played 1,000, he probably might have been in top 6, 7 scoring.
Jesus.
And he
What
was
held him
sick,
back?
man, so
Injuries?
fast. Sorry?
What held him back? Injuries?
Well, he only played 702 games, so yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Anyways, number 3 to keep this going and keeping it rolling here, wrap things up here. Olli Jokinen
Oh, Oli.
and versus Todd Bertuzzi.
Bert
Couple
Sr.
of Florida Panther legends.
Oh, goodly God.
And these two were pretty similar. I would say close to in games played, arguably. And pretty close in points. Very different hockey players.
Give me Chad.
Ding, 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 ding. Todd Bertuzzi. You did really well there.
Thank you.
You got
I know.
right. You had Oshie wrong.
Yeah.
You had
And then the rest
right.
were right.
You had Rick Nash right. You had Gabrick right. And you were 5 for 6. Cool. That's pretty good right there. That's pretty good
Not
right
bad.
there.
Not bad.
So, Olli Jokinen. Todd Bertuzzi had 770 points in 1,159 games played. Very respectable. I did not know he had that many points.
Did not think he had that at all.
Olli Jokinen, suitcase, had 750 points for what seemed like 750 franchises.
I was about to say that with 600 teams.
In 1,231 games.
Holy, spread across the whole NHL.
A little over 70 more games than Bertuzzi played and just under 20 points less, but two very valuable players for their teams during that time. And I would even argue Jokinen was even more valuable than Bertuzzi was to his team at the times that they were playing in their respective times. Jokinen was a stud, dude. That guy was a stud.
Yeah, he was sick.
What just happened there? My whole screen just went like white.
Well,
we're good. So we are good. Sorry. So anyways, just to finish up on that one there, that was a fun little one there. What we might do is I might try and grab a couple for each one. Maybe we'll make it a little segment or something between the episodes or whatever there. But anything else you wanted to talk on or kind of point base on or kind of see where we're at? Like I said, 20 games into the season. A lot of the teams right now are kind of just finding their way. We're going to be very close to figuring out who's a contender and who's a pretender. Kind of see where we're at with who might be trade deadline buyers and sellers. Those are all the things you're going to have to start thinking of soon here. So we'll get to that. Hopefully there's not going to be too many more firings because that's never a fun thing to talk about, but we'll see if that ignites the Bruins. See if Winnipeg and Washington keep continuing on their success. What will Dubas do with the Penguins? What's Trotz going to do with the Predators? Lots of storylines to be watching here moving forward. So, thank you very much, everybody, again,
Yeah,
as always, for listening. Hopefully, you guys
absolutely.
enjoyed this one. Tried to bring in a little bit more entertainment with some games, with some fun topics. Please leave a comment if you like those. If you want to add anything we want to talk about, like, subscribe, everything you can with our socials, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You can find us there if you need to reach out. Again, we are presented to you by North Six Sports, another edition of the Soft Dump in the Corner podcast. Have a good rest of your night.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
See you down south.